Hey, all right. So I did want to come on and chat a little bit, but um, I've been recording a reading of a book. So earlier I was just trying to read through that, and I got through in one recording. I got through the first 3 chapters of The End of All Evil. So um, that took about 40 minutes. I'm about a third of the way through. It's a pretty short book, but I will continue that tomorrow. I wanted tonight's talk to just discuss a few different videos, and I've linked in the description. The first one is about the strength of the feminine, and the next is about it's like a commentary on somebody else's talk. So we're getting really meta here. And then finally, I linked to Allison McDowell. She had a really long live stream today. I love these long format presenters. I think the work they're doing is really interesting, and I'm glad people have the space at least to listen to it. Like 200 people listening to Allison McDowell for 2 hours. That's pretty solid, and I think we need to appreciate those kinds of wins, because although it feels like, oh, maybe not a lot of people really understand, what's going on, it's nice to see there's so many different people trying to participate in this conversation. So I really hope that you'll check those out. I also posted just some links to how you can support me, and I just want to get used to asking for support. I'm really weird because I'm pretty outgoing and a jibber jabber, but I'm also shy about asking for what it is that I really need. So it would be nice if I could just get more comfortable with that. I put tip your scooper because that's what I do all day. I scoop dog poop for people, and I serve everyone across Salt Lake Valley. There's a lot of other people that do my job. It's a luxury service, the most menial task. But it's interesting, when I go to some of the fancier houses, you see that there's always somebody there working on the house, and there's just no end to the maintenance. Small homes, large homes. It's just a lot of work. And so it's really humbling what I get to do every day. I had a really nice conversation with one of my clients, and she had just this amazing view. And it really does make me happy, because sometimes I wake up and I hate my job. I hate my life. I'm like, what the fuck am I doing? But then I go out there and I get this really great surprise. I was up in what we call the foothills, the benches of the mountains today. And they're the mountains that are closest to my house. And just being that much closer to them, just every point of view is just so unique and so cool. So although culturally, there's some interesting things about Salt Lake. I've had family living in this valley since 1860, and looking at these just gorgeous mountains that look like a painting. So I'm really grateful for that. And that's one of the things I'm doing here on this channel, is just counting my blessings. And especially when things feel really, really bad, things feel daunting. You know, but what is normal anyways? And I'm sure there have been so many cultural shifts just in my lifetime. I'm not quite 40, almost, but it's really interesting to think what the next few months will bring, let alone the next few years. So I thank you for being part of this whole process with me. And like I've said before, I know this feels quite vulnerable. It feels quite, dangerous and risky at times, but I think it's worth some of the risk, if nothing else, to just be a light for one more person. And I've been so fortunate in my life to meet so many different kinds of people in real life. And then as technology and everything else in the world has changed so much, we now have this really new opportunity, I think, to, even if it's just in very small groups, we can find our people. And they can even be different. But isn't that what's great? When you're accidentally thrown into a room with people. So speaking to Allison McDowell's talk today, it gets really complicated, so forgive me, but I'm going to try and simplify one part of what she was saying. And she was just explaining how in the future of education and earning credits for your skills, that the system might optimize your skill set in a direction for you. And she described it, I think, as taking you away from your fate. And I've always kind of liked to joke around in my mind about the concept of fate. Like, fate destroys everything in its path. Get the fuck out of the way. But I also like to believe that we can change things. We can make choices. And so I wonder if the concept of fate is perhaps not what we choose for ourselves, not what we're somehow cosmically destined to do, but fate is almost like the external definition upon us. Like, that's what someone believes is what we're fated to be. And yet I really, fight against that idea and think no one knows our fate. Like, we're so beyond definition, So that's what I appreciate about the book that I've been reading, The End of All Evil. So I'll be continuing that hopefully tomorrow. And yeah, I was so charged up today. I got some photos on my phone just of the mountains because you could perfectly see the red across the mountain from the trees changing color. And it's just something I would like to reflect upon, that we're so fortunate to be living in this amazingly complex planet. So although I do like to track all these different scoops, all these different things that are going on in the world, and I have fallen victim to my worries and concerns and getting pretty stressed out about things. But at the same time, I'm just so appreciative that I can have a moment of wonder and awe and astonishment and appreciation. So I'm sorry if you're in a place where the weather's not that ideal. We've had really great weather this month, and we're possibly going to get snow on Saturday or Sunday. So that'll be interesting. We'll see if that turns out. But I just wanted to reflect upon so many things. But of course, my brain, it loses it as soon as I hit that live button. So I've been reading this weird book, and I thought it was funny because somebody was talking about wormwood, and then I saw this on my shelf. This is definitely different than some of those other, like, conspiracies, but this is interesting. Let's see. This was from 1959. This edition is from 1960. And there's 3 sections of the book, and then it says, the commentary following each of these sections is based on 3 William H. White lectures delivered by the author, Curtis Bach, at the University of Virginia Law School, April 1957. And then the New York Times wrote about it. Judge Bach has written a memorable book. The literary quality is worthy of the great lawyer and humanitarian that he is. The book should be widely read and wisely heeded, for society's stake in this subject is tremendous. So it's about a trial. And I think this kind of fiction is really interesting because it's talking about a time and place that we don't understand anymore. And just a quick little mention about it's about the state taking a man to trial for murder. And it's in a really devastating time. So everybody was really poor and hungry at that time. And so when you're able to read a fictionalized account of still history, the time and place, the setting, I just think it's really important to make sure we're reading everything we possibly can. And this is just one of the books that jumped out at me recently and made me appreciate, like, oh, cool, I get to travel back in time through a book. And then this jumped out at me as well. My Jules Verne Tour of the World. And this thing is totally falling apart. And I'm so lucky I live in an arid environment, because it's not rotting and falling apart, and it's been treated like crap. But this has been really cool because there's a part in this book where I just was laughing because there's my gas burner, which I forgot to turn off, and which is burning at my expense. Now I've calculated that it will cost me 2 shillings each, 24 hours, exactly 6 pence more than I earn. And you understand that however little our journey may be prolonged. Sorry for fuddling that up. But this guy gets hired as a servant to someone who has lots of money, no family, and all he has to do is get his tea for his, the water for his tea at the perfect temperature at the exacting time. He just has to follow these really meticulous orders at the beginning of the day and in the evening. And the rest of the time, the master's out at his like fraternity club. And so it's just so interesting to read about this nuance of like a time when it was common to have servants, you had gas burners on your lights. And this guy thought he was landing a really sweet job, really not having to work too much, getting to be settled. And then like the day he's hired, he's all happy that he gets to just have a calm, easy situation. And then his boss is like, okay, pack up. We're going around the world. So I just really related, obviously, to the grunt of the story. But yeah, please let me know what you're reading. Let me know if you like the End of All Evil. I mean, I'm not sure if I can like take it all in as like, oh yeah, this is how we should all live. But I think it's an interesting perspective, and that's all I'm trying to seek out is just different perspectives. So thanks for doing that with me. It's been fun, and I'm going to keep on doing these more regularly because I want to keep building some momentum and keep putting myself out there and, like maybe this is how I'm playing into their whole new digital future. But if that's the case, I just want to come off as authentically as possible. And, consequences be damned, because I really am fighting for freedom. I always have been, but it's not out of malice or, anything like from a negative place. I think I've always been kind and loving and inclusive as much as I possibly could be. And I also want to be strong and assertive and, express concern when needed. So I just want to encourage people to put themselves out there, because it doesn't really matter like the quality as much as your authenticity. I think people can really read that. And so even if we're small in numbers, so just keep doing what we're doing, and we'll talk soon.